Hi, this is Phyllis and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be making this right angle weave crystal edged bicone bracelet, and I hope you like this bracelet enough by its looks to stick around to learn how to make it. We'll get our materials together to get started, and thank you. The materials for today's project are 11O seed beads, and these are in the nickel color, and I'm using a size 8O seed bead, which is the main seed bead for the project, and the same color. I'm using 4mm bicones, and these are Swarovski turquoise AA. I'm using, of course, my bead board. I'm using Fireline, 6-pound Fireline, and I'm using it in the smoke color. My Fireline scissors, my toggle clasp. I forgot the size of it and I don't have the package in front of me. I'm using 2 stainless steel wire guardians and a size 10 beading needle. We're going to get these our materials together and come back, and I'm going to thread my needle with 6 feet of Fireline. I'm comfortable with working with 6 feet of Fireline, but you thread your needle with a comfortable length for you. So I'm going to get all those things together and we'll come back and get started making the bracelet. We're beginning with our 8O seed beads and our 4mm bicones, and because this is a right angle weave project, we are going to string on our 4 beginning beads. So I strung on 3 of my 8Os and a 4mm bicone, and we're going to pull these down till, I don't know, maybe 10 inches. Leave yourself a nice tail, because you're gonna attach your clasping to this. So I'm leaving myself 10 inches of tail, and I'm gonna tie these in a knot. And I'm going to reinforce this connection by passing my needle all the way around these 4 beads, and I'm going to end up exiting from right here. I reinforced my first unit, and my working thread is exiting this bead here. Our second unit is going to be all seed beads, so string on 3. Get caught on my bead board. 3 of your 8O seed beads, and pass the needle back through that bead where your thread was exiting, and reinforce each unit as you go along. The reason for the reinforcement is first off, for the strengthening aspect of it, and secondly, because your bead hole orientation is better defined when you reinforce your units. So all I'm doing is passing my needle back through all of these beads, and I have to now, once I've done that, I have to now get into position to make the next unit. So I'm going to continue advancing my needle through this bead here, and then I'm going to come out this way, and I'm going to then flip the work over, because I like to make those units going away from myself. Again, I'm going to make my third unit with all seed beads, and I'm going to reinforce that unit. and do the same thing. Get into position, to add the next unit. My fourth unit now is all seed beads again. I'm going to pass my needle back through that bead where that thread is exiting, and I'm going to reinforce again. And flip over here, and then I'm going to make my last unit. My fifth unit is going to be a seed bead, a crystal, and a seed bead. And what we've been doing is passing our needle back through that seed bead where we were exiting, and pull, and make sure, of course, to reinforce your units. And advance your needle this time through all three of these beads because we're making a turn. So we're going through here, through this one, and this is now going here. This is now our completed reinforcement and reposition of where we need to be. So once here, you can either flip your work over and work this way, which I'm going to do, or you can work from up here. You're going to still do the same thing that you've been doing. However, I'm going to make my units from here. We're going to make the first unit on our second row, beginning here. My thread is exiting vertically through this 8/0 seed bead. So in order to begin, we remember that we need to have 4 seed beads for a raw unit. So I'm going to string on 2 8/0s and a crystal and pass my needle back through this bead here and reinforce. Back through the crystal. This way, and into this seed bead here, for repositioning. Once here, we need to string on 2 seed beads. My working thread is exiting horizontally. This way, we need to pass our needle into this seed bead here, going vertically with the vertical hole orientation. And see what that does right there? Your 4 beads are right here. And in order to make that defined, you have to reinforce by passing your needle back through the bead where you started, this way, vertically, this way horizontally, back into this seed bead here, and of course we have a nut. All right, back into this seed bead, and up into this seed bead here. And now we have reinforced everything that we needed to for this unit. You see how nice that looks, but we have to get into position now to add the next unit. So now we keep advancing this way, and now we need to use this bead here in the next unit for our 4 points. So pass your needle that way, and what you got to do is see where you are. We need 2 size 8 seed beads. Our needle is coming out here from this seed bead here, and we need to go into this seed bead here. So you see where we are? We passed our needle through here. So we have to continue now to advance. We're going to reinforce this unit by going back through all 4 of these seed beads. And up here. And then now we are reinforced. Now we have to get into position to make our next unit. That means we advance our needle through this seed bead here. And untangle our thread, of course. Just got to do some thread management. This is where we are. Working thread is exiting this seed bead this way, and what we do is we know we need four beads for a unit, so we have to string on 2 size 8 seed beads, and this time we're going this way into this seed bead, and when we pull our thread, we have our unit. The 2 seed beads that we just added to this seed bead here, and then we have to continue through this seed bead to complete the unit. And of course now we are going to reinforce the 4 seed beads. So we pass our needle here this way, back this way, this way, this way. That completes the unit now, the reinforcing, but now we have to get into position to add our final unit, which means we could advance our needle through this seed bead, this one here, and it's always best to pull your thread in the direction that your bead holes are oriented, and that preserves the life of the thread a little longer. Now, to get into position, we pass our needle through this bead here. And now we're going to make the final unit in this row. So we're coming out of this 8/0 seed bead here, and in order to make it symmetric, we're going to add our crystal first and then a size 8/0 seed bead, and we're going to pass our needle back through this seed bead here. And no matter what you do, I'm still going to get caught on my bead board. In order to finish that unit, we'll continue to advance our needle this way through that seed bead, this way, through the crystal, back this way, and this way here for the reinforcement. I have a lot of thread on my needle, so I'm getting caught on my tripod, my bead board, my table. So continuing on, pass your needle, advance your needle this way and this way. And now, because we are at the end and we have finished this unit, I'm going to get into position to add our next row by advancing through this seed bead right here. And look at that. I did 5 units so that we would always be starting the same way on each row. I'm going to flip my unit this way, and I'm going to do just like I did when I added this row. So the easiest thing for you to do is, if you can back up to where I started this second row here, it's going to be the same way each time, and continue that until you have the length of your bracelet minus the length of your clasping, and I will see you then. I am making some progress on my bracelet. A couple things that I did and on the way. I went ahead and placed one end of my clasp on. My tail thread was really getting in the way, so that's what I did. But I'm going to do the other end of the clasp with you when we get to the end, near the end of the video. The next thing is, you're going to need to add thread. I'm going to place a link in the description box regarding a video from Gina's Gem Creations, or Gina's Beginning channel, where she shows you how to add thread. So I'm not going to do that with you on the video. But the last thing I noticed is that while I was working on my project, I noticed that my units weren't looking so well defined even while I was reinforcing them. So what you have to do, they tend to like collapse a little bit, and what you have to do is, while you're making your units, just go ahead and, you know, pull this apart, or pull them apart, pull the units apart, so that you can really see that you need to be making 5 units. And the units are here by these outside beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 5 units. You need to make sure that you're making 5 units all the way. So let's make one together. So we're here at making the first unit on the bottom, and I'm stringing on 2 size 8 seed beads and a crystal. This is what we did when we were doing our second row. So I'm going to just pass my needle back up into this size 8 seed bead, and of course we have to reinforce by going through all 4 of the beads. And once we are done reinforcing, we have to get into our position to make the next unit. So I'm reinforcing now. This here is the last bead for the unit, the 4th, and this bead here is the unit that we need to, was where we need to be in position to add our next unit. So if you can see, our units, it tended to buckle. you need to be going into this bead right here, but right now it's so close to this one, you could get confused. So what you want to do is pull it apart, and the next 3 units are going to be made with seed beads only. So what we need to do is string on our 2 seed beads, because we already have this bead here and this one for our next unit. And I'm going to pass my needle this way into that seed bead. And once there, if you get a little confused, you can pull your beads back to see exactly where you need to be. We started here, so I pass my needle through this bead here, and now I need to reinforce. Well, first off, I need to finish making that unit by passing through that seed bead right there. So now I need to reinforce by going through the unit again. So that will complete the reinforcing of the unit. Now I need to advance my needle through this seed bead and through this one with that horizontal orientation here. And the next seed bead we need to be going into is this one here with that bead orientation going vertically. Once here, we need 2 seed beads. String those on, and we're using this bead here and this bead here in the unit. So I need to pass my needle through this seed bead here and this one to complete the unit. Now I'm going to reinforce that unit by passing through all right, I'm passing through this seed bead here and this seed bead here and this one and this one, which will complete the reinforcement. And now we need to be in this bead here for the proper positioning for the next unit. And if you look here, you could get a little confused. They're so close together, you may confuse needing to go into this bead for needing to go into this bead for this one here. So keep them stretched. And we're going to string on 2 of our size 8 seed beads, and we're going to come right here into this seed bead. We're going to finish that unit by passing through this seed bead, and then we're going to reinforce the whole unit. And if you need to add thread, right here where this seed bead is, where my thread is exiting, this is where I would add my thread. I have enough where I can make a couple more units and add the thread, but like I said, I would add my thread in a place that's just like this, and either coming out of the seed beads with these horizontal hole orientations instead of one of the vertical ones. And I would add my thread right here, and if you watch that video link that I add, it should give you some good direction. So anyway, I'm finishing reinforcing this unit now, and to get into position to add the 5th unit on this row, I need to be passing my needle through this seed bead. And Another suggestion is sometimes if you feel like you need to reinforce a unit more than once, go right ahead, because that may be the thing that will help you to keep your units defined. So here at the last 5th unit, I'm going to string on my crystal and my seed bead, and my thread is exiting here. I'm going to pass my needle through this seed bead here, and I'm going to reinforce that unit, and just want you to keep working, keep tugging at it. This project takes a minute. I'm going to go through this one a couple of times. I'm going to reinforce it a couple of times so that I can see the definition of my units. So keep on working away at it, and again, I'll see you when I'm about to add the clasp near the end. Okay. I've completed the length of my bracelet minus the length I need for my clasping. And at this point, I am done with my 8O seed beads and my 4mm crystals. And I'll just be using now my 11O seed beads and my clasp and my wire guard. I just want to let you know this bracelet I tied thread on 3 times after the initial stringing of the 6 feet, the 2 yards, and I think I'm using this is almost about 8 yards of thread that I'm using. So make sure you watch that that video link that I posted to see how to extend your fire line. Okay, now we're going to add our clasp. I have exited this seed bead here, the size 8O, that is right here where we would normally begin to make our new right angle weave units. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to string on a size 11 seed bead, and I'm going to pass my needle through the next size 8 seed bead, and I'm going to do that all the way across. I'm going to string on a size 11 and pass my needle through each of these 8O seed beads so that we could begin our foundation for our clasp. Once I get to the end, I'm going to go ahead and reinforce this seed bead. I'm going to just weave my thread back into the position that I need to be, and I'm going to attach the clasp to the center 8O seed bead here on this edge. So all I'm doing is I'm going to weave my threads and my figure 8, just going through the 8Os until I get up into the center seed bead. I'm just turning it so that I could have my hands accessible easier. And once I pass up here, I am outside of that size 8 seed bead, and I'm just going to pass my needle right here through it. Once there, now I'm going to string on 2 size 11 seed beads and my wire guardian. I'm going to pass my needle around the groove of the wire guardian and the second hole of it. Oh. Wow, okay, now this can happen. My thread is caught in there. That might mean that I just need to squeeze my guardian shut. But right now it went through there, and that's fine. At this point, I'm going to just pass my my toggle here, just right on the through the needle there and into the guardian end. Once we get there, just going to squeeze that and pull the thread all the way down and pass the needle through that top size 11 seed bead. String on a size 11 seed bead and pass it back through the original 8/0 where we started, attaching the clasp, and go back through it. I'm going to reinforce this clasp a couple of times, but I'm not going to make you watch me do that. Just don't forget that when you are reinforcing, don't forget to go through the two beads, the one that's next to the 8/0 and the one that's next to the wire guardian. Don't forget to do that. And when I finish reinforcing, I will be back. I reinforced my connection twice. So there's 3 passes of thread going around this whole connection, and I'm currently exiting the 8/0 seed bead where I started, and I'm going to continue advancing my needle to the end and share with you a design option. If you would like to just place a seed bead embellishment or just a seed bead between your crystals, you could do that. So you can string on 1 seed bead and pass your needle through the next crystal. And you can do that all the way down and all the way around. I, though, am not going to do that. I want to leave this bracelet just the way it is. I think it's just simple and elegant enough, and it dances. And I think that adding the seed bead between it might make it buckle and stiffen it, and I don't want to do that. So you could do that, or you could even put a size 15 in there, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to leave mine with the right angle weave and the crystals on the end, and just put it on and make sure that it fits well and it is the perfect size for me. If I can, of course, because I'm recording, that I'm not going to be able to do it right. No, well, I got it. So just slide that on there. And that completes our bracelet. I've got some other colors of crystals, but I had more of these so that I could make this bracelet with you. So now all we need to do is tie a few half hitch knots and we'll be done. So I'm going to just take these 2 seed beads out because I'm not going to use them. And I'm just going to start right here where I am, and I'm going to pass my needle between the crystal and this size 8/0 seed bead, pull my thread up to make a loop, and I'm going to pass my needle through that loop twice. I'm gonna advance my needle through this 8/0 seed bead, this 8/0 seed bead, and this 8/0 seed bead here, and pass through the next crystal, and then pass my needle between the thread bridge between the crystal and the 8/0 seed bead right here, pull up a loop, pass my needle through that loop twice, and clamp down on it. There you go. And then I'm just going to pass my needle through this 8/0 seed bead here. The only thing I did, my camera ran out of memory. The only thing I did was pass my needle through the next couple of 8/0 seed beads, and I only have left now to cut this off. There you have it. That's the end of our tutorial, and I hope you like it, and I hope you make it. See you next time.